Well, happy deadline day. Welcome to the Assembly Committee on Legislative and Operations. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assemblymember Cole.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Edgeworth. Gonzalez.
Here.
Hibbets. Howdigi.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Monroe Moreno. Moore.
Here.
Nadeem.
Present.
Mosca.
And I am here. Can we please mark Assemblymember Monroe Moreno present as she arrives? She will be here. And hello to our audience in Carson City, those joining by video conference in Las Vegas, and those listening over the internet. Don't forget to silence your electronic devices. We expect courtesy and respect during all of our interactions. And don't be offended if we're looking at our laptops, as that's where we will be viewing our items. And today, our first item of business is going to be a work session. And I would like to start our work session by announcing we have received permission from the Speaker, who has waived Rule 57.4 to allow us to work session bills within 24 hours of the hearing. And remember, members, this is not a rehashing of the bill hearing. This is just our work session here today. So I will hand it over to Ms. Pearl.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst for the record. As nonpartisan LCB staff, I neither support nor oppose any of the measures before you today. The first bill on work session is Assembly Bill 73, sponsored by this committee on behalf of the Secretary of State, heard in committee on April 1st. Assembly Bill 73 establishes requirements for certain communications relating to an election. There are two proposed amendments, both by the Office of the Secretary of State, both attached. The first was presented at the meeting on April 1st, proposing to remove requirements for the size of the text of the disclosure, revise the definition of synthetic media, remove sections 3 through 5, which relate to the civil penalty of $50,000, and the requirement for submitting copies of communications requiring disclosures to the SOS, and for the SOS to make the communications available to the public. Add a personal cause for action for candidates if an AI-generated deep fake is used without the proper disclosure, and provide the provisions of the bill do not apply to certain media entities that broadcast a deceptive and fraudulent deep fake or publish materially deceptive audio or visual media prohibited by the bill, or materially deceptive audio or visual media that constitutes satire or parody. There was a second amendment proposed by the Office of the Secretary of State in consultation with stakeholders, which seeks to make the following additional changes. Specify in Section 2 the provisions of the bill apply to communications made by a candidate, authorized candidate campaign committee, political action committee, political party committee, or person or entity making an independent expenditure. In Section 2, revise the definitions of artificial intelligence and synthetic media. Clarify that the personal cause of action that candidates may take if a deceptive and fraudulent deepfake is used without proper disclosure is against the relevant party making the communication. Remove unnecessary language from the first proposed amendment relating to the liability of certain media entities, and instead clarify the provisions of the bill do not impose liability upon or create a right of action for equitable relief against certain entities as a result of a deceptive and fraudulent deepfake prohibited by the bill and provided by another person. And finally, provide the bill does not restrict the ability of a person to take certain actions relating to security incidents and deceptive or illegal activities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. I will members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 73.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Assemblymember Howdigi. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will assign the floor statement to Assemblymember Hibbets. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next bill on work session is Assembly Bill 79, sponsored by this committee on behalf of the Secretary of State, heard in committee on April 10th. Assembly Bill 79 revises provisions relating to campaign finance. There are two proposed amendments. The first by the Office of the Secretary of State, proposes to remove the prohibition against a PAC from spending contributions for personal use and instead specify the permissible expenditures by a PAC. Remove the authorization for elected public officers to use unspent contributions for the cost of child or elderly parent care or health insurance premiums, and instead add language allowing campaign funds to be used to defray any ordinary and necessary expenses incurred in connection with the recipient's duties as a candidate for or holder of office. Revise the definition of a nonprofit organization that is excluded from the definition of a PAC. No longer require candidates to specify which office they are running for on a notice of intent to file for candidacy. Remove the requirement for candidates and PACs to provide campaign account information to the SOS when requested for an investigation, and instead establish an administrative hearing process based on NRS 9620 for investigations of alleged violations of campaign finance law, while additionally providing the SOS the authority to apply to a court of competent jurisdiction to enforce subpoenas, and clarifying that an order of the SOS is appealable as a contested matter for purposes of judicial review. The amendment also seeks to provide additional clarification on campaign contribution limits and make various changes regarding civil penalties in connection with financial disclosure requirements. There is another amendment proposed by Chair Mosca to delete sections 2, 5, 6, and 8 of the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and to pass Assembly Bill 79.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Assemblymember Hannigy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
And if the nays can please raise their hands. We have a nay from Assemblymember Hibbets, Assemblymember Edgeworth, and Assemblymember Dickman. Motion carries. I will assign the floor statement to Assemblymember Nadeem. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. Next bill is Assembly Bill 92, sponsored by Assembly members Dickman, Gray, DeLong, O'Neill, and Senator Titus, heard in committee on April 1st. Assembly Bill 92 requires the use of rooms and spaces in public buildings to be granted to a state or county central committee of a major political party upon application and if the room or space is available. The room or space must be provided without charge for any purpose during presidential years, or to conduct a precinct meeting in non-presidential years, and at a rate that does not exceed what another group would be charged for purposes other than conducting a precinct meeting in non-presidential years. Assemblymember Dickman proposed the attached amendment to exclude buildings of the Nevada System of Higher Education from the public buildings that must be made available for use by state and county central committees of major political parties. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and to pass Assembly Bill 92.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hannigy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Dickman.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next bill on work session is Assembly Bill 367, sponsored by this committee on behalf of the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, heard in committee on March 20th. Assembly Bill 367 makes various changes related to language access in elections. All voting is local proposed an amendment to strike all of the language of AB 367 and rewrite the bill to do the following. Codify the telephone interpretation service that is currently provided by the Secretary of State for election questions in over 200 languages, including ASL. Codify the current practice of translating the Secretary of State's website to, at a minimum, the 7 most common languages in Nevada and ASL. Authorize the use of cell phones, tablets, or other devices inside polling places to ensure the deaf and hard of hearing community has access to interpretation services. Require all statewide SOS communications to occur in both English and Spanish, and fund the position of Language Access Coordinator in the Office of the Secretary of State. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 367.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hadigi. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I'll assign the floor statement to Assembly Member Gonzalez. Vice Chair Gonzalez, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next bill is Assembly Bill 477, sponsored by this committee, heard on April 1st. Assembly Bill 477 revises the process of counting incarcerated individuals for the purposes of the apportionment of the population for legislative districts, congressional districts, and the districts of the Board of Regents. There are no amendments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to do pass Assembly Bill 477.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Assembly Member Miller. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. I'll assign the floor statement to Majority Leader Hadigi. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. Next bill is Assembly Bill 491, sponsored by this committee, heard on April 8th. Assembly Bill 491 makes several changes relating to elections, including requiring, with certain exceptions, county and city clerks to respond to a request from the Secretary of State for information or data relating to an election within 48 hours of receiving the request, revising the qualifications for elected public offices other than federal offices, requiring those filing a declaration of candidacy or eligibility to attest under penalty of perjury to the city or town and the county in Nevada where they are registered to vote, providing that declarations of candidacy, residency, and eligibility are public records, and revising the date by which an independent candidate for partisan office must file a petition of candidacy from the third Friday in June to the Friday in June immediately after the primary election. Assemblymember Yeager proposed the attached amendment to amend Section 1 to replace 48 hours with end of the second calendar day and add "and when the information or data in the estimation of the clerk will be available," and to delete Section 5. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to amend and to pass Assembly Bill 491.
So moved. Second.
We have the motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hadigi. Any discussion on the motion?
Sure.
Yes. Assembly Member Hibbets.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of time, I'm going to do a quick blanket statement for AB 491 and 496. My Republican colleagues and I are going to vote yes to get these out of committee. And we just want to make sure that we are going to reserve our right to change our vote on the floor just based on whether the bills are amended to the satisfaction of the county clerks. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries, and I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Moore. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. Next bill is Assembly Bill 496, sponsored by Assemblymember Yeager, heard in committee on April 8th. Assembly Bill 496 makes various changes relating to elections, including requiring county clerks to post online on the first business day of each month an alphabetical listing of all registered voters in the county, requiring county and city clerks to post online by 10 a.m. each day certain information relating to mail ballots and provisional ballots, and that is for the period on the day after early voting begins and ending the day after the election results are canvassed. Clarifying that access to information concerning an individual provisional ballot is restricted to the person who casts the ballot, and requiring mail ballot return envelopes to include the name of the voter in print and a space for the voter to write his or her telephone number for the purposes of contacting the voter if necessary for signature curing or verification. Following the bill hearing, Assemblymember Yeager proposed the attached amendment to replace the amendment that was originally proposed on April 8th. The amendment requires county and city clerks to post a list of individual ballots that have been sent to cure and ballots that have been cured and update that list every 24 hours. The list must also include the reasons for sending the ballots to cure, which must be categorized by the Secretary of State through regulation. The amendment also changes the time by which clerks must post information each day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and requires mail ballot return envelopes to include the initials of the voter in print rather than the full name of the voter in print. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 496.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hennigy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Monroe Moreno. Next, thank you. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next bill is Assembly Bill 497, sponsored by Assemblymember Yeager and heard in committee on April 8th. Assembly Bill 497 authorizes a PAC to use contributions for certain purposes and excludes nonprofit organizations and corporations from the definition of a PAC. Additionally, the bill authorizes defeated candidates to use unspent contributions in their next election if the election is within 4 years, and requires any former public officer to dispose of unspent contributions within 15 days of the second month after leaving office. Following the bill hearing, Assemblymember Yeager proposed the attached amendment, which replaces the amendment originally proposed on April 8th. This new amendment amends subsection 8 of section 3 to require a former public officer to dispose of any unspent campaign contributions within 15 days after the 4-year period, rather than within 15 days of the second month after leaving office, and provides that the 4-year period for candidates and former public officers begins from the effective date of the bill or from their next loss or when they leave or resign from office. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 497.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hennigy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Miller.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next bill is Assembly Bill 499, sponsored by Assemblymember Yeager, heard in committee on April 8th. Assembly Bill 499 revises various provisions relating to elections, including requiring county clerks to establish and maintain an online voter services portal, requiring the DMV to regularly send certain information to county clerks, requiring mail ballot return envelopes to include space for voters to voluntarily provide certain identifying information, which, if verified by the clerk to be accurate, will not necessitate the signature on the mail ballot envelope to be verified, and requiring clerks to ensure employees are available by telephone on evenings and weekends during the signature curing period. Assemblymember Yeager proposed the attached amendment to require the DMV to provide the last 4 digits of a social security number rather than the entire number to county clerks, no longer require the DMV to provide data on birthplace, height, and weight, or the photograph from a driver's license or ID card to county clerks, clarify that clerks ensure employees are available by telephone until at least 7 p.m. on evenings and weekends, and require the QR code or other machine-readable code that links to the voter services portal to be included on all communications to voters. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass Assembly Bill 499.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hennigy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
And if our nays could please raise their hands. So for the record, we have nays from Assemblymember Hibbets, Assemblymember Cole, Assemblymember Edgeworth, and Assemblymember Dickman. The motion carries. I will assign the floor statement to Vice Chair Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Pearl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next bill is Assembly Bill 534, sponsored by this committee on behalf of the Secretary of State and heard in committee on April 10th. Assembly Bill 534 makes various changes related to elections. And since this bill was just heard yesterday, I think I'll spare the committee from reading through all of this. But happy to answer any questions or highlight a specific provision. There are no amendments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And understanding that a lot of work still needs to be done on this bill, I would like to accept a motion to move it without recommendation, understanding that it will move to the fiscal committee and can continue to be worked on while it awaits a hearing there. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and I have a second from Assemblymember Monroe Moreno. Are there any questions on the motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion carries. Thank you. Next bill, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Prohl, Committee Policy Analyst. The next measure is Assembly Joint Resolution 11, sponsored by Assemblymember De Silva, heard in committee on April 3rd. Assembly Joint Resolution 11 urges Congress to enact the Richard L. Trumka Protecting the Right to Organize Act of 2025 to increase protections relating to the rights of employees to collectively bargain. There are no amendments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to do pass Assembly Joint Resolution 11.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez and a second from Majority Leader Hannigy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
And if our nays could raise their hands, please. And we have a nay from Assemblymember Hibbets, Assemblymember Cole, Assemblymember Edgeworth, and Assemblymember Dickman. The motion carries, and I will assign the floor statement to Assemblymember De Silva. Next and last one, please.
Thank you, Chair. Haley Prohl, Committee Policy Analyst. The last measure on work session today is Assembly Joint Resolution 14, sponsored by Assembly Members Yeager, Monroe Moreno, Miller, Howdigi, Backus, and Senator Scheibel et al., heard in committee on April 3rd. Assembly Joint Resolution 14 condemns the attack on the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021, including the assault on law enforcement officers, and denounces the use of presidential pardons and commutations to absolve the participants in the riot. Assemblymember Yeager proposed an amendment to add Assemblymember Orentlicker as a co-sponsor of the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass AJR 14.
So moved.
Second. I'll take we have the motion from Vice Chair Gonzalez. We have a second from Assemblymember Miller. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
If our nays could raise their hands. We have nays from Assemblymember Hibbets, Assemblymember Cole, Assemblymember Edgeworth, and Assemblymember Dickman. I'll assign the floor statement to myself. Thank you. And with that, thank you, Ms. Prohl, and we will close the work session. Great job, committee. And as we go to our last item of business is public comment. Each person has 2 minutes to provide testimony, and we will also take written public comment up to 24 hours. The call-in number is 888-475-4499, and the meeting ID is 844-7524-6666. And don't forget to state and spell your name for the record. We'll start here in Carson City. Seeing none, we'll move to Las Vegas. And seeing none, AVH, will you please open the phone line for public comment?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. We have no callers at this time.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'll close public comment. And before we end today, I want to make sure we give a big thanks to our staff, whether it's our policy staff, our legal staff, our committee staff, our AVH, our broadcast, everybody that makes this building run. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and especially to all of our members as we are finishing with our first deadline day. So with that, there will be no committees next week. So Tuesday and Thursday will be canceled. And seeing no other business before us, I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you.